Hi everyone, trust you all are doing well. So now we're going to deal with environment variables in Next.js, how to create them and how to access them. Now, in order to do that, all we have to do is we create a new file and we're going to call this one .env.local. That's it. All right, so as you can see, it will be get ignored. So meaning anything or secrets or passwords, anything in this file will not be exposed to the public. Right, so let's quickly close this off. In order to create a variable, all we need is a key and a value pair. All right, and so now we got our DB for our database, and that's the cause, and the user is root, and the password is password. Now, how do we access these variables in Next.js? But I just want to mention before we do that, if you created your file after you start up the server, all right, so if we start up our server, npm run dev like this, just look at this at the bottom right here, you will see basically we get the server, it started up at that server right there. So if we click on anything, as you can see, all good. Now the thing is, if you create the environment variable, you can see it doesn't pull in that file. All right, let's quickly create it and run the server again. All right, so as you can see, now Next.js will basically pull in our environment local file right here. Okay, so awesome stuff. So then we can access it. Okay, just remember, if you created the file before you actually run this, you will not be able to, but just restart the server and then you can work with it. All right, now in order to access these variables, all we have to do, let's go to our articles right here. So pages, articles, and the index. All right, so in here, let's quickly create a variable called database. And in order to access this right here, this variable database, I'm just going to access this one. In order to access it, all we have to do is we say process.env, all right, and then we add the dot notation for the name of the variable. Now in this case, this will be db underscore database. All right. So now we access it. But now the thing that I want to show you is whatever we database variables that we put right here will remain a secret. So it cannot be exposed to the front end like this, to the client side in the browser. All right, so let's quickly console log that database. All right, so I console log the database. All right, so if we go in here and we press F12 and we refresh this, as you can see, there's nothing in there. But this will only run in the Node.js environment. So if we open up our terminal right here, you will see there it is right there, that console log. It will only run in the local environment, in the Node.js environment. Okay. Now the thing is, let's try to access that in our articles right here. So let's quickly see if we can expose it in the browser. So let's quickly add. Right. So I'm doing the same thing. So if I refresh this, you will see there's nothing being shown right there, just to protect you, just in case you by accident basically expose it. But let's say you want to expose certain variables to the front end. How do you do that in the client? How do we do that? All we have to do is we create a new variable, or we can create the same one. Let's quickly, all we have to do is we have to give it a prefix of next public underscore, and then the name of the variable. Now in this case, let's say database. Okay, and then I'm going to equal that to course again. All right, now if you make any changes to your environment local file right here, .env.local, you have to restart the server, otherwise the changes that will not be used. All right, so let's quickly restart the server. So npm run dev, compile it, bring in our local file right there. Okay, so let's go to our articles right here. Let's refresh this. Right, so let's go in our index right here. So right now, H1 right here, so we need to bring in this variable. Okay, I'm just going to copy that part, and I'm just going to say, do the same thing. I'm just going to say process.env and the name of the variable. Now, this one is going to be next underscore public. So if I save that, as you can see, it brings it in right there. Okay, so if you want any variables to be public, you add it with a prefix of next public underscore in the name of the variable right there. Okay, that's just to kind of keep you safe. So if Next.js sees this part right here, it will know that this you want it to be public. All the rest will be private. All right. So thank you guys. Now the other thing that I want to show you, just a couple of changes, just for learning purpose. Let's go to our pages articles index. Now there's a thing that I want to update in here as well. So if we go to our articles right here, just remember I didn't add any keys right here. So it was like this. But in Next.js, you're going to have a problem with this. Basically every one that we loop over around here, we have to add a key so that Next.js know which basic, in this case, which article is which one. All right. So if we add the key, so all we do is we add the key right here, the key, and then I'm just going to use the article ID as a key. All right. Just that part right there. Now the other thing as well is, let's go to the article right here. Now the other part that we have is I put it backticks like this. All we have to do is when we bring in href like this, we mustn't leave it as such. It works, no problem. I can go to the different articles, but the convention, otherwise you're going to get an error. You have to put a /, not a ./, just a / like that. So if I save this, I go to F12 right here, you'll see if I refresh this, if I click on this, you will see we have no error. But if I remove this, let's quickly see the error right here. So let's save that and click on the article. It doesn't want to appear now, but just make sure that you add that in there. All right. So that's the end of this series, guys. If you have any questions, please ask them for me in the comment section, and I will put this in a longer format. There's obviously a lot to cover in Next.js, like the authentication, but I just wanted to give you guys the basics for our Laravel API that we're going to build, and that will be in the next coming videos coming up for our Laravel API, because in there we will deal with some advanced features like the authentication and SWR, and we're going to work with that in the next one. All right, so thank you guys for watching. Do all the YouTube stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.